The province of Ifugao derived its name from the word Ipugu, meaning from the hills. It is also a collective term referring to its inhabitants who consist and speak three major languages, namely Ayangan, Tuali, and the Kalanguya. Based on mythology, the Ifugaos descended from Wigan and Bugan, the deities of Kabunyan or the sky world. According to anthropologists and scholars, there are three theories on the origin and migration of the Ifugaos. The first is that of Henry Otle Bayer, who believes that the Ifugaos were part of the Malay migration from southeastern part of the Asian continent. Second, which is according to Felix Kissing, the present-day Ifugaos originated from central Cagayan Valley, who moved to the mountains to evade the Spanish colonizers. The more recent theory is that of Roy F. Barton, who claims that Ifugao land was settled by migration from various directions. The Kankanaes from the west, the Lamot migrants from the south, and the Silipanes from eastern border with Isabela. Ifugao started as a politico-military unit under the Spanish colonial government in 1889. The domination of the Spaniards was short-lived as the Ifugaos defied and drove away the colonizers down to the plains of Nueva Vizcaya and Isabela. In the 1900s came the Americans who established civilian government in 1902, led by Lieutenant Levi Case and Lieutenant Jefferson Goldman, who put up their headquarters in Banawi. In 1905, Ifugao was separated from Nueva Vizcaya to become a sub-province, of which a succession of American military governors took turns in administering governance, the last of which was Lieutenant William Dawser. In the 1930s, a number of local military leaders were put in place by the American colonizers, the last of whom was Captain Pedro Bulan of Cagayan. During the Commonwealth era, after the Japanese occupation, several homegrown leaders were designated, namely Luis Pawid Sr., Jose Dulinayan, Valerio Famorca, and Alejandro Fontanilla. From 1946 to 1967, 8 Ifugaos took turns in leading the sub-province as deputy governors. They were Luis Pawid Sr., Leopoldo Culhi, Alfredo Kappelman, Raimundo Bagilat, Nicolas Liangnang, Santiago Habawel, Jose Guinid, and Victor Codamon. Ifugao became a regular province by virtue of Republic Act Numbers 4695, or the Division Law of Mountain Province, signed into law in June 18, 1966 by President Marcos, who appointed Gualberto Lumawi and Manuel Tuginay as governor and vice-governor, respectively. 50 years after its being an independent province, Ifugao have had 6 congressmen and 10 provincial governors. The incumbent leaders of Ifugao after the May 16, 2016 election are Congressman Teodoro B. Bagilat Jr., representing the Lone District of Ifugao, and Attorney Pedro Mayamo as provincial governor, and Jose Jordan Gulitio as provincial vice governor. The province of Ifugao has 11 municipalities, with Lagawi as the capital town. Asipulo is the youngest municipality by virtue of Republic Act No. 7173, enacted on January 13, 1992. Ifugao Province consists of 175 barangays with 10 special economic zones. It is a part of the Cordillera Administrative Region created in 1987 through Executive Order No. 220. It has a land area of 258,282 hectares and ranks 4th among the 6 provinces of CAR in terms of size. It has a population of 202,802 persons, ranking 5th among the 6 CAR provinces. DNR record shows that Ifugao has 26,974 hectares of alienable and disposable lands, or a mere 10.44%, while the regional average is likewise a mere 14.58%. The Cordillera region is the host of 13 major watersheds, thus it is tagged as the watershed cradle of the North. Ifugao Province falls squarely within Proclamation number 573, also known as the Magat Watershed Forest Reserve, together with the province of Nueva Vizcaya. The Magat River Watershed Forest Reserve drains in Namilangan, Alfonso Lista, Ifugao, where the Magat Hydroelectric Facility is located, now being managed and operated by the SN Aboitiz Group. Ifugao is the host of numerous natural and man-made features or attractions. 4 major rivers, namely Lamot, Alimit, Ibulao, and the Matuno Kadaklan drains and end up into the Magat River that empties into the Cagayan River, the country's longest river. There are 6 mountain peaks in Ifugao that have elevations of more than 2,000 meters above the sea level, the highest of which is Mount Pulag at 2,922 meters. It serves as the common boundary of Benguet, Ifugao, and Mountain Province. Found within Ifugao are the world-famous rice terraces, of which 4 clusters have been listed and inscribed by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites with exceptional universal value as a cultural landscape. The UNFAO likewise recognized Ifugao's Muyong system of forest management in its search for excellence in 2005 as a unique and sustainable ENR management system. The American Society of Civil Engineers and our very own Philippine Society of Civil Engineers recognize the Ifugao terraces as an engineering landmark. Despite the recognition or accolades by the national and international bodies, the Ifugaos are still squatters, legally speaking, to their abode, terraces, and other properties. In terms of land classification, only 4 of the 11 municipalities of Ifugao have been classified by the Bureau of Forestry, now FMB. The 4 municipalities are Alfonso Lista, Aguinaldo, Mayaoyao in the east, and Lamot in the south. Kiangan Municipality was partly classified, while the remaining 6 towns on the western side of the province fall under the category or are still unclassified public forest. The special mention is the capital town of Lagawi that hosts the provincial capital, the Ifugao State University, and 22 national government offices. The foregoing agencies and institutions, all vital nerve centers of governance, are located and operating in what are legally called unclassified public forest. Making things harder for the Ifugaos are a number of military reservations declared during the Commonwealth period that were never used for its original purpose. The truth of the matter is that these proclamations dispossessed hundreds of Ifugaos of their age-old possessions. A concrete example is the 16.64-hectare Burnay Military Reservation, Philippine Army, under Proclamation number 319, located in Bahawit, Poblacion West, Lagawi, Ifugao. On 2 occasions, DENR CAR reported that subject reservation has never been occupied and used by the reservee, and that subject lot was occupied and improved by informal settlers and other occupants. In the early 2000s, the DNR implemented the Forest Land Boundary Assessment and Delineation Project, nationwide, intended to finally define the limits of agricultural and forest lands. As provided under the 1987 Philippine Constitution, Results of the delineation project for the province of Ifugao disclose the following. For the municipalities, we have Alfonso Lista, 8,825.41 hectares. Aguinaldo, 4,119.76 hectares. Mayoyaw, 508.24 hectares. Lamot, 2,716.29 hectares. Kiangan, 2,435.51 hectares. Lagawi, 2,046.17 hectares. Hingyon, 1,696.47 hectares. Banawi, 2,249.28 hectares. Hungduan, 2,553.88 hectares. Tinok, 685.97 hectares. And Asipolo, 2,718.71 hectares, all in all totaling to 30,490.67 thousand hectares. As earlier mentioned, Western Ifugao still fall under the category of classified public forest. It is important that viable areas in these municipalities be declared as agricultural lands and for other purposes, considering the present physical, social, and economic and environmental situation. In line with the trust and priorities of the present administration, one of which is social justice to the Lumads and other indigenous peoples, the Ifugaos yearn for other modes of legal recognition of their rights to their time immemorial ownership of their villages, bands, fields, muyungs, and farm like other mainstream Filipinos. We Ifugaos long for equal recognition in order that we can consider ourselves as part of the Filipino body politics. As we continue to suffer from deprivation, being used as sacrificial lambs in the altar of economic progress or development, we cannot help but be reminded and be encouraged of the struggles of recent and contemporary Cordillera progressives who embraced the social framework in their attempt to achieve meaningful freedom and realized our God-given right to self-determination.